All right, so as in my last video where I showed you how to hide GeneratePress meta boxes or the settings from certain post types like posts, I like it in pages, not in posts. I want to show you now how you can do that with GenerateBlocks or with any blocks for that matter. So a lot of you know what GenerateBlocks is. Great new Gutenberg add-on plugin from Tom Usborne, the creator of GeneratePress, where you can create just about any layout. It gives you all the parts and pieces you need. I've set this up just recently in my child theme over on GitHub, and I'm gonna show you now how I've implemented it and just a little bit about how it works, what's happening. So a lot of this, if you guys don't know who Bill Erickson is, I highly recommend go check out his blog. He has a lot of great tips and tricks for doing things behind the scene, cleaning up the admin portion and handing over your site to clients, but removing things that they might potentially use that would mess with your design, mess with how you've set up the site, and you really want to restrict what they're able to do. And it sounds kind of like a bad thing, but it's not. You're wanting to just get rid of these unnecessary elements and really clean up the admin interface, and I'm big on that, to make it more usable for them, so they can just get in and do what they need to do. So I'm looking at my my test site for again for my blog, which I haven't made any more progress with yet. But so I'm going to show you how to, like, for example, I believe I have GenerateBlocks installed. Yeah, because we were looking at some from the last video. So I do want GenerateBlocks available on pages. So this is the About page, let's say, and I want to be able to add these elements. But let's say when and I'm going to update over here. Let's say when if this were a client site and I'm handing it over, and the post section is where they maintain their news. So maybe when they go to add a blog post, the blog's kind of, let's just let them write text, give them some layout elements, or some content elements like paragraphs and headings and things like that. But, they don't need to be able to add containers or columns or things like that. So I want to hide, as you can see here, I want to be able to hide GenerateBlocks so they don't have access to it. And you might want to do this for custom post types as well, but it'll work across anything. Excuse me while I turn off my phone. So let's look at the code real quick. So what's happening here is I've on-queued Gutenberg scripts and styles. So just like you can on-queue scripts for WordPress, so we have on-queue style, on-queue script, we can also on-queue block editor assets. So I have two here. I have one that loads kind of this global set, and it's all done through JavaScript. It loads a global set of restrictions on, here's, a list of block elements from Gutenberg that I don't want to load across the board, across all post types. And then down further, we're grabbing this global object, current screen. So in the admin, it contains some stuff about what the admin user is looking at. So we're grabbing the post type and saying if the admin is looking at the post type, then let's load up this script as well. And now we get another more specific, we get the editor settings for posts, okay? So it's going to load this JavaScript file. So I have them over here, and this is my child theme, which you can get off GitHub. And you don't need my child theme to do this. You can load this stuff. This is the functions PHP file, and you can, link it or point it to your JavaScript files wherever they are in your theme or child theme. But I have them in admin and JS, and here is the editor. And again, I've tried to include links that show how I'm doing this stuff. So you see here we have WP when the DOM is ready, WP blocks, unregistered block type. And we're telling it to unregister, and these are not necessarily ones that I don't want available. These are just two that I was testing with. So core media text and core search. So those blocks will not be available anywhere. So if I go back in here and I try to add a search block, I get nothing. Okay. And here is the editor for the posts, post type. So we get the same thing, but I have one additional step. I want to make sure first before I do this. So if GenerateBlocks for some reason wasn't installed, this would throw a JavaScript error if I didn't check first to see if it was there. So I'm telling WordPress, okay, if you go grab this object or whatever it's called in JavaScript, and pardon me, I don't know the exact term. If it is a type of undefined, or rather if it is not, see the exclamation point, if it is not equal to undefined, then output this JavaScript and go ahead and unregister all these blocks. And you can do that for any other plugins you like as well. So to show you how I got these, if I come back over here to the WordPress entry for GenerateBlocks, if I scroll down, wow, it is not here anymore. So there was a list here of those names, and perhaps, oh, here it is. So it's replaced. I'm sorry, guys. So let's jump over to the documentation real quick and let's see if I can find those. No way. Okay, so I'm a little embarrassed now, but those are not here any longer. But those names used to be listed here that gave me the references for how to unregister the block types. And let's see. Here is the list of core blocks, and someone has put this in a gist on GitHub. So it's prefixed by core, and then you have the different block names. So you can come here and reference that. I'm sure these GenerateBlocks block names are somewhere available, anywhere. They're in my child theme, and it may be that these are going to be changing. I don't know, but so that's how that's done. But just to show you real quick, if I were to simply comment all this out, and remember I've told in my functions PHP file, I've told this hook to only on-queue this script if the admin is looking at a post or editing a post of post type. So it's calling it here. So I've commented this out, and we're going to go back. Okay. To look at, and now we're under posts. So we're looking at that post type. And now I should get, yeah, they're in my GenerateBlocks again. So now they're available. And now they're not. So yeah, you know, if you're building a site for yourself, you may not care about this stuff, but if you work on client sites and you really want to clean out the unnecessary things that could potentially not damage, but well, just for lack of a better phrase, mess up your design that you've worked hard on, you know, you can WordPress and GeneratePress both give you options to turn off and on certain things that will help you in that. So yeah, that is how I've gone in and set this up. And again, highly recommend you take a look at Bill Erickson's stuff. I read this article and looked at how he handles it for his clients, and it helped me figure it out for my needs. So yeah, so I think my next video, I'm going to try maybe something that's not GeneratePress specific. I'm not sure. I have the animation classes that I haven't looked at yet for just adding some subtle, fade in animations as you scroll down a page. But I also want to look at some things like using the content filter, which is very cool in WordPress, and it lets you do things like set up custom templates for custom post types without having to copy templates from GeneratePress. You can simply override what shows in a typical content output. Anyway, it's much easier if I show you. So anyway, that's what's coming up. Hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe. I'm going to keep trying to add more on a pretty frequent basis if I can, and I appreciate it. Have fun developing.